Good morning, I'm John Delano. Welcome to the Sunday Business Page. This morning, the shale industry is in transition in western Pennsylvania. But what will that mean for companies, workers, energy companies, and the environment? We'll ask Pittsburgh attorney Joseph Reinhart, co-chair of Babst Calland's Energy and Natural Resources Group. Then, shepherding the next generation. We'll introduce you to two men who are educating and counseling young people at risk because of family challenges or the area where they live. Tom Pierce, National Director of Shepherding the Next Generation, and Dr. William Glaze, pastor of Bethany Baptist Church in Homewood, will join us. And you'll meet two young entrepreneurs whose inventiveness and business savvy show great promise in the business world. It's all next right here on the Sunday Business Page.
This is the Sunday Business Page on KDKA TV.
And a very good morning to you. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday morning and the Independence Day weekend with us. Mentioning words like shale drilling, property rights, and fracking bring uncertainty and fear to many people. Others see those words as the key to economic opportunity for areas that have been hurting for a long time. What is the state of the shale industry in our area? And what role could government play in regulating that business? Joseph Reinhart is a Pittsburgh attorney and co-chair of Babst, Calland, Clements & Zomner's Energy and Natural Resources Group. He joins us now on the Sunday Business Page with some perspective on how all of this could affect our community. Welcome to the show, Joe. It's good to have you back.
Good to be here, John.
You know, let me ask you about the shale industry in general, because I think a lot of folks, we use that word shale, and we often confuse it with natural gas. Is it just natural gas? Is it more than natural gas? Is it different from natural gas?
It is natural gas, John. It is coming, though, from a different source than traditionally we receive natural gas. It's unconventional natural gas, meaning you get it from a tight formation of rock that is about a mile below the surface of the ground. And in order to be able to get it out of the rock, you have to fracture it in order to make it mobile enough to be able to recover. But otherwise, it is a natural gas like you would normally have from a vertical conventional well. But you also, depending on the type of formation, you may get oil and you may get natural gas liquids, which can be very valuable as well.
And it's different in the sense that it's way down. It's a mile plus below the surface of the earth, right?
It is. It's very deep, unlike the conventional wells that are typically much shallower, or oil wells that can be much shallower than that we've had in the States since the 1800s. These are much deeper than that, and as you said, go approximately about a mile underground in order to be able to recover it.
And the technology is such that with the Marcellus Shale, you drill a mile down and then you go out horizontally under a whole lot of other property in order to frack or to extract the natural gas that's there. So I mean, we may see a drill go straight down, but it's really impacting a huge area beyond that, right?
Yeah, it is. In fact, what that has allowed the industry to do is to, in some ways, reduce the footprint of their impact on the surface, because historically you would be drilling a vertical well that would have a certain type of recovery within a radius of that vertical well. But now with the modern technologies available to drill horizontally, you can have several wells that might be on one pad, one surface location, that would go down and then go in different directions across a considerable area.
So while it means that the surface appearance may be limited, the fact is that lots of property is being affected by the underground fracking that's going on off on horizontal lines.
Yes, the subsurface area that you'd be able to develop would be much greater than if you were restricted to using vertical wells.
All right, I think that's helpful, because I think people need to understand that when we talk shale and we talk the kind of drilling that's going on, it's very different from the kind of drilling that we've seen traditionally. And it does impact a whole lot more area and environment, perhaps, than the traditional side. So let me ask you about that. I mean, when you evaluate the state of this natural gas shale drilling going on right now in western Pennsylvania, how do you describe it?
Well, the Appalachian Basin, and that's really the entire state from New York through West Virginia to Kentucky, has become a leading source of a significant part of the U.S. volume of natural gas that's being produced. And when we talked a year ago, the projections at that time were they were developing approximately 8 billion cubic feet a day of gas from the Marcellus, and they were expecting by 2025 that they would be developing 15 billion gallons per day. Last month, they have already reached 13 billion cubic feet per day. And so the projections that were made even a year ago have proven to be low because of the fact that the industry is becoming much more efficient in being able to recover gas through the wells that they have.
As you know, this has been controversial with many on the environmental level. Are we doing a better job environmentally? Do you think that we have the protections in place that we should?
Well, I have the pleasure of dealing with a lot of the companies on a day-to-day basis, and certainly the people that I'm dealing with have significant resources devoted to trying to make sure that they do the best job that they can with regard to minimizing the impact on the environment and certainly making it safe. On top of that, I think because of the fact that obviously this particular industry has gotten a lot of attention, there have been increasing regulatory requirements imposed with regard to water management, with regard to air emissions, with regard to all aspects of the operation that are intended to, I think, demonstrate to people that this particular industry is regulated and is doing things in conformance with the law.
As you know, Pennsylvania is one of the only states that does not tax the extraction of natural gas. Our neighbors in West Virginia and Ohio have taxes. Texas has a huge whopping extraction tax. Isn't it time for Pennsylvania to start taxing this industry in order to well, frankly, get out of the budget mess we're in Harrisburg?
Well, that certainly has been the topic of a lot of discussions these days with regard to the fact that it certainly appears to be a handy revenue source. But when you consider the fact that although they don't have a severance tax, they have an impact fee, which is generated, as you know, approximately $200 million a year, and those funds are going to the local communities where the activity is occurring. And so certainly one of the challenges for the industry, not only in Pennsylvania but in Ohio, where they're looking at increasing the severance tax, is how does industry determine where they're going to produce next? Because recognize that they have options, and I think with regard to the entire basin, if you're going to be looking at increased costs with regard to developing, say, in Pennsylvania and you don't in Ohio, then you have to evaluate that severance tax plus an impact fee. That could have an effect.
Well, I know that the Democratic candidate for governor says that he will replace the impact fee with a severance tax. He doesn't want both taxes. He wants one tax. And, of course, the current governor doesn't want any severance tax at all. He has put in place the impact fee. So the public will have a clear choice on that issue as they go forward. We only have about 30 seconds left. But the jobs. I want to end on jobs because I think that is one of the really bright notes of this industry. Can you tell us where we are and what the projections are with respect to employment here?
Certainly. If you look in just the local area, we've had over a period of about 5 years over a 200% increase in the number of jobs in the oil and gas industry alone. And then when you consider the fact, like any industry, that there's the effect, a ripple effect from those jobs to other jobs. You've also had an increasing role in natural gas and electric power production, where they're acting as a source for more electric power. But beyond that, I think what really is exciting for purposes of offering the Pittsburgh area manufacturing renaissance is the potential for having things that would be manufacturing that would occur as a result of having the raw materials and energy from this source.
Yeah, I don't think you can overemphasize that point. I think having an energy supply right here in western Pennsylvania means a great deal for the growth of this region in so many different ways. Aside from the fact that, hey, as we've just celebrated Independence Day, how nice it is to get energy independence once and for all. Joe Reinhart, thank you so much, sir, for coming in and for updating us. I know we'll have you back. Thanks again. When we come back, shepherding the next generation, we'll tell you how two men with a faith-based background are helping to make a difference. Stick with us.
The Sunday Business Page will be back